Hello and welcome to this adaptive course design session called Active Reading Activities. In this session, before we begin, you would want to make sure that you have your adaptive course design course opened up in Schoology, and you need to click on this folder called Active Reading Activities. Here I've provided several activities that you can do related to the reading materials that you provide in your courses. Many times we provide reading materials and we are never sure whether students consumed those reading materials the way we desired, the way we aimed. So once you have identified any article, publication, or link, or website, or any chapter that you want students to read, instead of providing them with the link so that they could, in a folder, and then say, you may have a folder in your course that could say reading materials. And instead of providing all your reading materials in your folder, it is a better idea that you allocate in your gradebook, allocate a grading space called reading activities. Especially in this remote learning environment or adaptive learning environment, unpredictable learning environment, it is a good idea to provide students with an incentive, a positive incentive. Sometimes grading helps. You could just allocate, just like you do class participation point allocation in the Schoology gradebook. As mentioned in the previous sessions, you could also allocate grading for reading activities. For that, just explain that in your syllabus that each reading is coupled with a reading activity that could be part of your assignment, and you have to participate in these reading activities so that we all know that reading has taken place. So we have to make it a social learning experience, a collaborative learning experience, to maximize the benefits of a quality learning experience. So if you click on the active reading activities, here I have mentioned the following activities, following strategies in which you can combine your reading materials with different groups of students, a whole class, or specific teams of students to do reading activities. Before I begin, I would like to open this document, and in it I offer the read, discuss, apply / reflect cycle. So offer readings in this format. Have them read, have them discuss about it, and have them apply it either on an assignment or reflect. So sometimes assignments are offered that are based on readings. That's great, that's wonderful. But then sometimes readings are offered standalone. So I'm specifically discussing the readings that are offered standalone. It is a good idea to, if you do not want to have them apply into an assignment, you could at least have them discuss about it. So this is a sequence of activities that happens in this cycle. So you read an article, chapters, publication, then you discuss the questions asked in groups. It could be a whole class or a jigsaw. I'm going to get into jigsaw in a minute. Apply your reading in an assignment or an activity. Apply your reading in a quiz activity, either one of these, or this one as well. Either 3, 4, 5. Reflect your reading in a blog activity on Schoology. Blogs can also be used for peer reviewing. So you do a read, discuss, and apply in these two forms in an assignment or a quiz, or you could apply in a blog activity. Let's get started with a few activities that I have outlined for you. Please feel free to use them in your courses. So here's another one strategy is creating a reading activity. For example, you call it reading activity week 1. This is for whole class. Students click here and they are taken to this question that says read the chapter 7 in the book attached to this assignment, creating significant learning experiences, an integrated approach to designing college courses by LD Fink. Here's the book here. Now I've done two things here. I've shown you how to use this reading in an assignment, and I've also offered a nice resource for you to read if especially you prefer you are offering professional studies courses or courses that are that require high level skills. Please read this. I mean, not the entire book, but then some parts of the book that would help you explain how to create significant learning experiences. Okay, that being said, offer this book to the students, and then I'm asking, read chapter 7. And out of chapter 7, you would say, how have you applied any one of these significant learning principles in your courses? Maybe you've already done it, but now that you've read this chapter, you're labeling it so you can share them with us. Feedback posts provide a constructive feedback for a post or narrate a related experience to that post. So you're supposed to add, your student's supposed to post two things: a post and a feedback post. The criteria is provided. I would keep this very, very simple. I would not add any rubric. I want a lot of freedom in, providing students with the freedom to create or write as much or as little as they want. The point is, I want to see evidences of the chapter being read and this being discussed effectively with students, because discussion, what it does is whatever chapter points that are very relevant to the learning outcome for that particular week, students talk about it and they register a lot of things to long-term memory, which is a very good practice for building effective assignments. So this is all leading towards creating effective assignments, authentic assignments, or assignments that can be showcased in the future. So this is one way of doing it. You just provide this reading activity for the entire class. This is a simpler way of doing it. But then what if you are a professor in language arts or writing, some kind of writing courses, some kind of foreign language course, and you want students to read intensively? Even science courses can benefit from this. This type of activity is the team building. For example, you could have a team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, depending on how many students you have in the class. So you create jigsaw groups. So if you want to look up jigsaw on the Google, you would find that jigsaw model is actually mixing up different ability students into a group. So you could have a group of students where you are aware of this could, you could start as random groups, but then as you get to know the students, you can shift groups around. You can mix ability groups are always supposed to be present. You can't have all overachievers or high performers in one group and low performance students in one group. That would defeat the purpose of this kind of jigsaw model. So mix them up and have a nice heterogeneous mix of students in each groups. And then the same question is asked, but let me show you the edit mode. There's one thing different. Everything else is the same. It's just assigned to. So I've assigned individually. You can just keep typing, begin typing the name of a course number or grading group, or you could just start typing the name of a person and start adding them. In this case, I have all the students that are part of this adaptive course design. These are the students in this group, and I could add anybody's name. So I've added some names here, and I've made sure that require members to post before revealing other responses. So when I turn this on, the students first have to write with their own mind. What happens is nobody can copy anybody's reading, just, get an idea what they said and then rewrite in their own words. That wouldn't help. So if you turn this on, no comments can be seen by the students unless they hit the post button with their comment, with their post. So the highlight of this kind of group activity is that you have assigned them individually. You can shift around, you can change, you can create another discussion board activity, and then you can change these names in different groups. So in this way, you could create team 1, team 2. This is one strategy. Another strategy, one is whole class, the one is jigsaw groups. Then I have, just like I mentioned here, read, discuss, and apply. You could read an article, you could discuss with the questions with groups, whole class, or jigsaw, and then I'm in this part of the discussion right now where I share with you apply, how you can apply your reading in an assignment activity. apply your reading in a quiz activity, and reflect your reading in a blog activity on Schoology. So let's look at the assignment activity I've created. Reading notes with Google Keep. So here's another strategy that I have put forth for you. Students click here and then they see this. This is a great way. I was reading up about it. Um, a professor in this college, he came up with this framework, like framework not as in scientific framework. So he says that offer students a square, a triangle, and a circle. You can offer this, you can add this in your syllabus as well, that I'm using this framework by this professor for all my reading activities. You have to do this. You have to read the chapter that I assign you, and then you have to use this graphic organizer, shaping up framework, that's what it's called, to take notes in your Google Keep Notes. Share the notes with me in the form of a link when you submit the assignment. Now you could either do this, or it's not easy to create a square, triangle, or a circle. If it's not easy for you to do that, you could also create a Google Doc and tell students to save copy of that Google Doc with these shapes, and tell students to write down something that you know aligns with their beliefs, 3 points that they want to remember, and a question that's circling their mind. So, having students read with this in mind is effective because it tells them what to look for in their reading. So, in Google Keep, for example, in the previous session, I covered how to add Google Chrome extensions for teaching. One of them was Google Keep. So, supposing I have a reading going on and I open up Google Keep to take notes. That's what it requires. In Google Keep, you can I don't think you can create shapes and then start writing in it unless you have an iPad. So if you don't have an iPad and you just have a computer like me, you could create three stickies. A square blue is for blue sticky, circle is for red sticky, and triangle is for the green sticky. You can teach that once. Just teach this once and implement it throughout the semester, because reading is something they cannot run away from. So reading, what happens is you click on this icon and you can take a note. So it says reading notes with Google Keep. I want to move to the Google Keep page. It's a free software available for us. It will add the link to the assignment for the student, and they can start typing. They could create a blue sticky and they can start typing the name of the chapter. And as when they type anything in blue, they know what they're dealing with, something that squares with my beliefs. You can start taking notes. I believe in, okay, I believe in the following points the author mentions. So it could be point A, B, C, whatever it is. And then if you go here, you could create, I'm going to close it. Just make sure the first thing that you need to do is uh, create a label in your Google Keep called reading activities. Let me begin with that. I have a label already. So the label was created and it was called Shaping Up. This was the label. And within this label, I can add make a copy or show checkboxes, grab image text, just a second. Okay, let me make it edit labels, create a new label. I already have one reading activities. I'm just trying to find where it is. Okay, edit labels, done. Reading activities, I'm sorry, it was right here. Any label that you create, for example, reading activities 2, done. It's going to appear right here. So I'm going to open reading activities and take a note for the blue sticky. And here I'm going to say chapter 7, the following points resonate with my beliefs. It is very important for students to be able to connect the reading with their beliefs, and just write ABC, whatever points they want to write. I'm going to close it. It's going to be added here. I'm going to take another note and I'm going to call it again. You could call it chapter 7 because we're still talking about chapter 7. And the next sticky was the red sticky, which is things that are circling in my mind. I'm going to make a red sticky here. Points I cannot understand. Close. And the last one was the green sticky. Again, this is chapter 7 so that I know what I'm talking about here. And chapter 7, oh sorry, green sticky is all about points to remember. The following points are to be remembered. So teaching these note-taking skills is one of the most important life skills you can teach to your students that they can take away to many courses in the future. So in this way, you have them create 3 stickies that belong to the reading activities for your course. They could be more specific. You could say, course number reading activities, so that they would understand that for each course they can create a course reading activity label under which they have all their points here. And then they can easily share this. They can share this with anybody. They can share it with you, or they can share it with their class fellows. So I'm trying to get into the sharing mode, collaborator. So I'm going to move out of here in the notes section. So reading activities, I want to be able to share this. Okay, new list. I guess you have to individually share this with your collaborator. There must be a way to do this as a label, but that's fine. You can share it with the professor right here and save. So what happens is if you share it, close. If you share it, you just can get an idea what points students are uncovering and what points they want to get solved, or just have points I cannot understand share with you. Even one of them would do. So these are some specific activities that I have come up with, for Carthage faculty so that they can create effective reading experiences. Then I also have a reading activity for week 1. You could just have a quiz that they need to take, and this could be a short answer question. Short answer question 1, short answer question 2. So when they take the quiz, it would appear like this. So before the beginning of the class, just have a reading activity week 1 quick quiz. This would actually provide evidences of reading. Anything that you do on Schoology would provide evidences of reading. Final thing that I have here is getting your students to engage in course readings. I have this reading from faculty focus that you can read. Getting your students to engage, there's some really nice strategies mentioned here. You can go through it. Jigsaw reading is mentioned, and how the benefits of this reading and how you can also create roles. I really like that. You can take this a step further. It's up to you. You can have a discussion leader, passage master, devil's advocate, illustrator, connector, recorder. So each of them have a role in this entire reading. So when you create teams, just like we did here, you could actually provide each of these team members that you created, you could provide them with a specific role so that only role related responses would be created, and then a whole story is developed based on these roles. So each of these could have roles here. You could write the names of the roles here, roles, and you could write their names. So you could do that as well. I hope this is useful, and if you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer through email or one-on-one meetings with you to create a unique reading activity for your particular need. Thank you and take care. Bye.